Little brake lock up there. Halfway points for the NZV8's from Manfeild. For race 3, don't go away. We'll be back after this. I think Johnny's pretty comfortable out in front at the moment, Mark.
Full control of the race, so he'll just go as quick as he needs to. And won't burn that car up too much. That'll further down the field.
So Craig Baird, he's back in the 15th position. He still can't get around Wade Henshaw as Andy Anderson dives down the inside of Simon Richards.
Simon just does a crossover to try to return, and actually probably get there with the drive. Andrew Anderson got off the corner, which wasn't too good at all.
Just ran a little bit wide. Angel's last lap time was a 14.3. We just saw before the break, we thought there was some concerns with the left front tyre on that race car.
Yeah, there's no doubt. It's actually moved off the bead, so the tyres moved off a little bit, and it's not going to be ideal because that's where all the loading is. But here we go. Johnny McIntyre first, go back a fair bit, of course, down to Angus Fogg in second. Paul Manuel, we have to say, and going by his lap time, circulating at the same time as Angus Fogg. We're halfway through this long race. We normally see the Commodores drop off well before the stage of the race, so they certainly seem to be the best of the Commodore teams at this stage.
Yeah, Hayden McKenzie is next in the queue in the 4th position. Martin Short 5th, Nick Ross 7th. Then it's Andy Booth, Andy Knight, John Penny. Tim Edgell is in 10th, still running around. As the Richards-Anderson duel continues side by side out of Higgins. Ford versus Holden. Richards should have the inside line. There's a big lock-up just up ahead of them. Kane Scott was the next in the queue. I wonder if that was Timmy Edgell.
No, Timmy's still circulating there, like you say, going down the inside. It's the unloaded side for the damage that's on Timmy Edgell's car, so I'd be quite surprised if it was him. Maybe Christina there, which is also in the shot. Oh, sorry, John Penny in the shot there. Maybe he was just a little bit too hard, but either way, if Timmy Edgell knew what damage he's got on the left front, I doubt he'd be running as wide as he is over the corners. Well,
he's just picked up the 9th position with that pass on John Penny. In behind Penny now is Kane Scott. So Edgell still with a small advantage for the round win. JP's not going to force the issue. Kane Scott slips up the inside. It's for 10th position. Timmy Edgell 9th. Kane Scott 10th. John McIntyre, your race leader from Angus Fogg. At the moment, looking to make a fairly significant gain in the points, and that's the advantage. A half-decent start. Just looking at that tyre, you still reckon that is the issue?
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. It can live like that. But unfortunately for Timmy, 90% of this track here is you're turning right, which means the left-hand side is loading up, and guess which side of the tyre's damaged? Left front, so it's taking all the work, but hopefully he'll just stay on there and won't cause any more dramas for him.
Craig Baird is still mired back there in the 14th position. He cannot get around Wade Henshaw, who I understand from post-race 2 is on the same set of tyres throughout the same day. There's William Bamber's gone around in the LG Ford.
And if he can't move that car, that would definitely bring a safety car out.
That could change the complexion of this race. I think he's going to get it out.
He is, yeah.
Awkward position, though. Awkward position.
Very, very awkward position.
Gets it fired back up.
Now, he'd want to get that thing moved very quickly, which he obviously is doing. There's a fair bit of debris, so the teams will be on the radio to the drivers saying, guys, look out for turn number 7 coming on the front straight. A little bit of debris. Who's the first car to hit it all?
John McIntyre.
Yeah, look at that. See, you see the teams are talking. Johnny missed it by a golden mile, so it's good work by everybody.
Well, it was lucky there for William Bamber that he didn't have too much traffic bearing down on him as he was trying to get back on track. This unique shot on board with John McIntyre and the Blackwoods Michaels Protector Safety Ford. Looking back, Johnny Mac at work. Maintaining that advantage over Angus Fogg. Andy Booth turns his attentions to Nick Ross for the 6th position. It's been a solid weekend for Boothie in the Rock FM Holden.
Stayed out of trouble, hasn't he? The car still looks nice and smooth, so he's done a little bit of rubbing when's required, but nothing drastic. But Nick Ross, he's a hard campaigner at the best of times.
Just as you say that, it looked like Ross and Boothie were going to share a little bit of paint together.
Commentators' curse, as we've been known to put on to people.
Andy Knight with them, Tim Edgell. Tim still circulating with that tyre. Kane Scott right there with them as well. So this is the 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th and 10th battle on the racetrack inside the last 7 laps with a finale here at Manfeild. third and final race for the NZV8's for the CRC 200. Boothie's giving him a little bit of Morse code, as you call it, more.
And the old Liberace kiss, as they say, so I just want to be careful that he doesn't do that too hard, because...
Kane Scott with a lot of smoke underneath the back of the Fujitsu Ford. Has Kane Scott got a problem now? That was a lot of smoke.
He's dropped right back. Now, that's a power steering leak, which it could be. He's coming out in front of the left front tyre. The smoke's getting worse. A lot of smoke
for Kane Scott. He's going to soldier on, but what has gone wrong with the Fujitsu Ford?
Wow. It was a lot of very fast smoke. It's definitely not tyre smoke that we can rule out. Looking at it, if it's power steering, he is going to have a very, very big job. That's maybe from the differential side of things.
He's got 6 laps to try and get it home. It certainly hasn't cost him any car speed through the infield here at the moment.
And not at this stage. The team will definitely be on the radio to him. He'll probably be able to smell that as well. You can see perhaps a little bit of smoke coming back inside the cabin. There's nothing worse for a driver at this stage of the race, Jamie, and you can smell the smoke, and the team's going, mate, I'm sorry to tell you, but there's something going on here.
Yeah, and there's Craig Russell.
See the middle finger will go down. That's to communicate part of the headset, so he's talking to his driver.
Craig Russell with the Racing Projects team, headed by Nigel Barclay. So dramas for a couple of the top contenders. Timmy Edgell is trying to manage a damaged left front tyre. Kane Scott's got smoke billowing out the back of the Fujitsu Ford. You can see him looking at the dials. Tim Edgell just up track ahead of him.
Kane Scott, he's currently 3.5 seconds thereabouts of the car that's immediately behind him, so he can nurse this thing home.
Timmy Edgell looking to get down the inside of Andy Knight, though. Well, talk about drama this weekend. We had enough of it at Timaru, but...
It's starting to get a little bit worse, actually. It's a lot worse going around the corners, so perhaps from the drivetrain somewhere. Of course, we saw Craig Beard have that differential problem at Timaru, so maybe, just maybe, this thing's developed a leak in a similar kind of area. Whatever it is, Kane is definitely not slowing down for it.
It's cost him a little bit of track time as big lock up through the smoke down at the hip. And there's Boothie, Nick Ross, Andy Knight, Tim Edgell. Oh, Nick Ross steps sideways under brakes. That was a pretty significant brake lock-up. That's cost him a lot of momentum onto the back straight.
Started a long way back, didn't it? So he'll be feeling that through the steering wheel now. The steering wheel will be shuddering away because of the flat spot. Timmy Edgell giving a bit of run on Andy Knight. Nothing come of that at all.
So Tim Edgell still in the box seat for the possible round victory. So let's have a look at the Hydrolink best moment under pressure. Nick Ross backing in the Total Oils Commodore and recovering. That's a big recovery in this week's Hydrolink best moment under pressure. So Tim Edgell trying to get by Andy Knight. Knight with lots of damage to the right side of the Century Batteries Ford. Jimmy McIntyre with a 7.1 second advantage over Angus Fogg. I think he'll be pretty happy where he's sitting right now. Manuel, Hayden McKenzie, Martin Short, Andy Booth, Nick Ross, Andy Knight, Tim Edgell, Kane Scott still in 10th. But can he get the Fujitsu Ford home?
Looks like these two guys are so preoccupied trying to keep each other out that it's actually hindered their progress through the field. Makes you kind of wonder if they had decided to work together early on in the race, they'd be a lot further up towards the Kane Scott and the Timmy Edgells.
Craig Beard's crossed over. He's to the outside, though, to Higgins.
See, Wade Henshaw's just going to bring his car right to the Craig Beard's car. Craig really doesn't have an answer for it. Side of both cars are well and truly used up.
May have a run here off the exit of Higgins, but I think that Wade Henshaw's car is struggling for straight line speed.
No, it's not. Of course, it means nothing because Andrew Anderson just probably blocked right in the back of Wade Henshaw. Craig Beard is going to try to go down the inside around it right now. Can't get it close enough.
Well, we've seen Craig Beard so good in these reverse grid races because he's got up on the wheel and been really aggressive. Now there's
mechanical flag.
Mechanical flag. Is that for Kane Scott?
Quite possibly.
Is that for Kane Scott?
It doesn't look like any other cars carrying any damage or any loose bodywork, so it'll be a shame. It's just warning the teams, guys, that there's a bit of a mechanical issue with your car. Be prepared.
Wade Henshaw in 13th, Craig Beard in 14th. There is Kane Scott, the Fujitsu Ford.
Now, it's not smoking much anymore, which means one of two things. One, it's cured itself, which is very highly unlikely, or two, it's Yeah, sorry, or two, it's run out of oil. So it's one of those things.
Just on race radio, they've withdrawn that mechanical flag. It was for Kane Scott, so they've withdrawn that.
Yeah, it was. Say, highly unlikely it's fixed itself. So if it is a differential or something like that and it has got a bit low on oil, you might have run out one lap before the thing will weld itself together because it's so hot. 2 laps to go, we may be able to nurse this thing home.
So just a couple to go. Can Kane Scott get the Fujitsu Ford home? The Racing Projects team will have their fingers crossed. They'll have everything crossed. Timmy Edgell with the advantage for the round win. He's still trying to get around Andy Knight, who in turn has turned his attentions to Nick Ross for the 7th position. So with Craig Baird back in the 14th position, that would give him 24 points.
I made all my very rough maths, and you know it's not the best at times. I put it for the round win, goes to Timmy Edgell first, then to Kane Scott. Believe it or not, Andy Booth and Andy Knight, we tied for 3rd.
Well, that's going to be one to watch. There's Hayden McKenzie, has had a solid run in the Albany Toyota Ford. There's Martin Short. This is a good return for him after a tough start to race day with that clash with Angus Fogg in the first race. Great onboard shot. That is such a cool shot, looking up over the top of the gear stick.
So relaxed in the cabin.
So I think as it stands right now, Angus Fogg would have a 46-point lead in the championship. So that's a fairly big swing with this reverse grid race, but that was the advantage he did with a better grid at the start of this one. Just a couple left to go.
The team would have been thinking that after what happened in race 1. Qualified at the early part of the weekend. So
absolutely
it is an amazing comeback for the team. Nick Ross is pressing the issue here with Andy Knight.
Tim Edgell may get the opportunity, wasn't close enough to try and force the issue. Kane Scott's still right there with them. So Kane Scott in the 10th position. Would add 33 points to his tally for 766. So he would be at 34. Behind Craig Baird, so this has just had the effect of spreading the points out a little bit, but it's still very, very close. Nick Ross doing a good job here to try and hold off Andy Knight. As the last lap board comes out for Johnny Mack. John McIntyre looking for race win number 5. You'd think he'd be leading the championship, but the team's had all sorts of dramas.
Brutus, 5 race wins, which is probably the highest amount of anybody. Yet it's not enough to be leading this championship. It just goes to prove how tight it now is.
Yeah, you just can't afford DNF problems for Simon Richards, slowing in the Soyuro Drive Ford. Richards was up inside the top 10 for a while there, but he's dropped back down the order. So Angus Fogg looking to extend the championship lead. Not as big a gap as he started the weekend with, but it's still a gain with considering what happened at the start.
You're right, it's a lot bigger
race
gap
number
than
1.
Yes, a lot bigger gap than that team would have thought it was going to be, especially after the early parts of the weekend.
So John McIntyre on his way to victory in the 3rd and final race for the NZV8's from Manfeild, the CRC 200. One more corner to negotiate. He'll go past a limping Simon Richards. McIntyre with a 6.8 second advantage over Angus Fogg. He'll certainly salvage something out of the weekend. McIntyre celebrating out of the final corner. The Blackwoods Heichels Protector Safety Ford takes the victory. The JMR team celebrate it. You get the feeling that Johnny's pretty happy with that.
Every right to be as well. Sterling job. He just led by example. Stayed out of trouble, full control of the race, and this battle's still going on.
Now Angus Fogg has had a problem in the last lap because Paul Manuel has crossed the line in 2nd. Foggy back to 3rd. Hayden McKenzie 4th, Martin Short 5th. Andy Booth 6th and 7th, just on the line for Nick Ross ahead of Tim Edgell. That should be enough to give Tim Edgell the round win. But what happened to Angus Fogg on the last lap? He still finished 3rd, but he's lost a position to Paul Manuel on the last lap. So John McIntyre with the victory, Paul Manuel in 2nd. Angus Fogg slips back to 3rd on the final lap, but will maintain the championship lead heading to Taupo. Go back to Hayden McKenzie, Martin Short and Andy Booth to complete the top 6. What a weekend.